Well, hello and welcome to Conversations with Carolyn. I am Carolyn Jones with Chance of a Lifetime Coaching, and I am so elated to have with me my guest for tonight. And our guest is Barbara Harvey Carter. Barbara Harvey Carter is originally from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, by way of, she's an Arkansas native, and I'm so proud to call her my aunt. She's my mother's sister, and she is originally, though, she's made her way to the great state of Texas and now resides in Arlington, Texas. Good evening, Barbara Harvey Carter. How are you?
Good evening, Carolyn. I am blessed and highly favored. I have to say that because I am. And the weather is beautiful here, because you're in Texas also. But the weather is beautiful here in Arlington, even better in Houston, I know.
Well, yes, we had a little bit of a fog, and it turned out pretty scary, but it's balanced its way back out. And so I'm ready to get some cool weather here, though, you know, and we still have a tendency to be a little warm, but it's been pretty good. So we're grateful. We're grateful. I would like to say that, Barbara, you are a retired nurse, and you, I think it was in 2008 that you wrote your very first novel, and it was entitled Bedeviled. And then you followed up with a sequel to that, and you called that one Wormwood. So those are two of the books that we want to talk about today. We want to find out so many interesting things about you. I know a lot of great things about you, but I want the audience to get to know you and know your book, your style, who it's meant for, and all that great stuff. So I would like to say on that note, as we have many following, and I would just like for you to introduce yourself and tell us what you want us to know about you.
Well, okay. As Carolyn said, my name is Barbara Harvey Carter, and my writing name is BHCarter. I shortened it to just BHCarter. Okay. And my genre is women Christian thrillers with a supernatural twist. More angels with angels and demons, not the outer space type stuff, you know, but mostly spiritual, spiritual, supernatural. And I like working with women and girls. So that is pretty much my focus. Is I like to help women and help girls to be empowered, to be inspired, and to know who they are.
That's wonderful, wonderful. With that being said, can you tell us, maybe you could describe how your life goals impacted you to do what it is that you're doing now?
Well, as you said earlier, Carolyn, my profession was nursing. I'm a retired nurse. So I'm a nurturer by nature. You know, as nurses, we just kind of nurture, and we take care of people. And after actually it was 2008, I was still working. But I decided to write a novel, and it was pretty much based on experiences in my life, but also other women's lives, which is why, again, my goal is to work with women to empower women. Because as females, we share, experiences we have with significant others or with family members, with lovers, with husbands, boyfriends. And that's what my novels focus on, being in abusive, non-productive relationships. They are fictional, but a lot of fiction is based on reality. And that's kind of how it started, in that after I retired from nursing, which was in 2014, and I decided to pursue my writing a little bit more seriously now, in that I'm trying to really make a go of it and make some money from it. my first novel, Bedeviled, was self-published, and just sharing self-published, and then the second one was self-published also. And And I think you asked how did this impacting me, and that's so my goal is to help women. So that's what these books have to do with impacting women, and hopefully, well, actually, I'll say the ones that have given me feedback on my novels really say that this book is really good, and they think of people they could pass it on to, because it's really about, I don't want to give the story away, but it's about a lady that's bedazzled or bedeviled by this charming man. That's the first one. And then she begins to realize he is not who she thought he was, right? So in the second book, I did a follow-up because, of course, the readers wanted to know, well, what happened? What happened? So I did the sequel, Wormwood, after she married the man. Wormwood means bitter. So it was a bitter marriage, a bitter relationship, and she felt that she was stuck in that. But the twist is that when you have faith, faith can help you overcome fear. Faith can help you overcome any obstacles. And that's kind of the gist of my book without me telling the storyline.
Wow. That is amazing within itself, because I hear you say bedeviled and I hear you say wormwood. And bedeviled, you kind of articulated a little bit about that. And my question is, what inspired you to name it Bedeviled? Because I hear how the story kind of took hold, but why Bedeviled? Why the name Bedeviled? And why, you did mention that wormwood means bitter, but what inspired you to come up with those names?
Well, this novel, I'm going to be transparent here. This novel was written after I had went through a pretty, I would call it terrible divorce. It was not the most pleasant divorce. And I've always been a journaler, a journaler. And I was reading my journal after the divorce, just kind of going through my journal. And as I started reading it, then it's actually like scales fell from my eyes, and I began to see, why didn't I see all this when I was dating this man? Why didn't I see all this, before I married this man? And that's when I, decided to try my hand at writing the first book. So to be honest, my first title of the book was I Married Satan's Son. That's the way I felt. that was probably a little anger in there, probably. But that's the way I felt. So I initially was going to name it I Married Satan's Son. I think that would have been a catchy title, because I believe a lot of women would have wanted to read that. Well, what is this about? But my editor at the time thought it would turn some Christians off, because I am a Christian novelist. So she thought that name might not be the bestseller, help me to sell my book and promote it with Satan's Son, because she thought people might think it's more of a horror, rather than a female genre book. So then I thought about, okay, names. And then I thought about, okay, the next name would be either Bedazzled or Bedeviled, because this man bedeviled her. He actually just came into her life, and he was so charming. And when you get blinded sometime by attention, or you get blinded by people showing you affection and buying you gifts and making you feel special, you get so bedeviled, you can't see the trees for the forest.
Wow.
So that's how I came. Oh, and I think you asked about Wormwood, right?
Right.
So Wormwood, I chose that name because I needed a follow-up, name for the sequel. And I thought about the marriage. I said, that's a good title, Wormwood, because the marriage was bitter. There was really no love after they got married. There's more love in the novel, that I made it. There was more love when they were courting than when they actually got married. So that's how I came up with the name Wormwood, which means bitter. I'm also a prayer. So I asked the Holy Spirit to can help me think of a name for this book. What should I name it? What should I call it? So I believe I had some help also from the Holy Spirit.
some divine help.
Yeah, yes, yes.
Wonderful. You know, I was listening to Bedeviled and how you were expositing on how you came about the name Bedeviled and all of the intricacies of the novel itself. And I thought about, we do, and I think most of us women act off of our emotions a whole lot more than we actually act off of assessing those emotions. So I can only imagine the lead in your book who, and like most women, we want to be beloved.
Yes.
And then somewhere along the way, we find out we've been bedeviled.
Yeah.
It's a great book. I had the opportunity to read both books, both Bedeviled and Wormwood. And yes, you know, I think even though I think you called it fictional,
right.
But I think I was able to even see some relative points that happened in the transition of my life, in some of the relationships that I've been in. And I'm pretty certain that a lot of your readers will find themselves somewhere encapsulated within Bedeviled and Wormwood itself. So kudos to you, Aunt Barbara. I think you did an awesome job in making sure that there were discoveries. And speaking of discoveries, what was one of the most discovering or illuminating moments as you was writing the book that you found yourself in? And if you don't mind talking about that, were there ever any aha moments? And I heard you say earlier that when you were reading your journal, how you just kind of melted into the journal, and then perhaps, and now it leads to where we have pages and pages to turn of the book Bedeviled. But what moments, was there ever a pivotal moment, that aha moment that was such a self-discovery that you had to put it in the book?
That I had to put it in the book. Yes, I think the aha moment was as I was writing both books, but especially the first one, you know, writing it and making it fictional. Because initially I was going to make it a memoir, but you know, like I guess I'm like most people, I guess, that I didn't think my life was interesting. I'm thinking, who would want to read about my little problems? You know what I mean? Because I think people have had a lot more challenges than me. That's my thought. So I thought, well, I don't think anybody's going to want to read about me just because I was in a bad marriage. You know, a lot of people been in a bad marriage. So that's when I decided, well, I'm going to just use some things from my journal, but also embellish it and make it fictional. I thought, to make it more interesting. So the aha moment was as I was writing it, you know, reading my journal first and then writing the novel. And with Bernard, Hannah is the main character in the book. Her name is Hannah. And it was like, you know, there were signs all around showing her that there was something a little odd about this man. Mm-hmm. But she didn't pick it up for whatever reason. And my aha moment was, you know, the Holy Spirit does that for us. He shows us things, but we got to be willing to see it. We have to be willing to look at what he's showing us, because he's such a gentleman. He doesn't force anything on us. You know, he'll point you to it, or he'll reveal something, but then it's up to us to, you know, dig deeper to try to find out, okay, what exactly am I supposed to learn from this lesson? So I did. I learned a lot from reading the book, just from myself, that number one, it takes two. You know, the old saying, it takes two to tango, but it takes two to build a marriage or to destroy a marriage. And so I had to really, and it was difficult for me to accept that my part was probably just as strong as my husband's in destroying our marriage. I think that's a better word to put it. And instead of us working together to build this marriage, it wasn't just him, so I learned that as I was writing this book about my fictional character. A lot of you fall in love with your characters, most authors do, and a lot of you, if you don't watch it, you'll be putting more of yourself into the character than the individual character. So I did have to be careful about that too. I had to make sure, that's what my editor had told me, that she said, you don't want to put too much, unless you're writing a memoir, put too much of yourself in it. So she suggested I pick someone that I admired or that I wanted to base this character on. That way I could, look at that person's characteristic, base my character on that person, rather than putting so much of myself in there that it'll get confusing for the reader. But wow. I hope that answered your question. But the aha moment was, that was the Holy Spirit was showing me that I was just as guilty as my husband.
Oh, that
and,
was,
and not maintaining our marriage.
Oh yes, and I think that is such a great moment of self-discovery, and it's a great moment of transparency and accountability. And I think a lot of times what we do get caught up in is not facing that accountability that lies within us. I would like, I hear a lot of you talking about the Christian part of it, and definitely being guided by the divine spirit. What would you say to the audience that are not Christians, who may have not accepted Christ in their life, but you still know that there's something in this book that will benefit them greatly? So what would you say to the non-Christian in relation to your books?
Okay, to do a little pre-note, a lot of my readers have been non-Christians that have read this book. So yes, it hasn't all been Christian. And a lot of them have said to me, women have said, oh, I got to give this to my cousin, or my sister needs this book, or my sister-in-law. So as you said about yourself, they could see themselves or family members in this situation. So I would say to a non-Christian that this book will benefit you, whether you're a Christian or not. And because it's a novel about life. It's a novel about love. It's a novel about spousal abuse, to be exact. Now, he did not physically abuse her, but women need to know there's financial abuse, spiritual abuse, sexual abuse, emotional abuse. Yes. So there's more abuses than just physical. And that was one of the points I was trying to point out in these books, that this woman was in an abusive relationship. She loved her husband initially. She was bedeviled now, but she also fell in love with him. So she didn't just marry him because of the money, things he was doing. Right, she fell in love with him, but with the controlling behaviors and all the other, emotional abuse that he did with her, a lot of women think abuse is just physical.
Exactly.
And so that was one of the things I could say to the non-Christian. And that the reason I really say it's Christian, because I don't use cursing. It's just like any other book, for a non-Christian and one to read. But I just wanted to make sure that I used the words clean book. So I didn't curse in the book, and I didn't have any, what would you call it, steamy sexual scenes in my books either. So, but otherwise it's pretty much written like any other novel, that's thriller novel. I call this one a thriller, but if it's a romantic or supernatural thriller.
Okay, great. I appreciate that. And I do, I can attest that this book will reach the hands and hearts of many once they open the pages. Yeah. Thank you so much for that. So in writing, I hear you talking about your characters. Hannah is the character. And who is the other character, if you would mind speaking about the other character, his name, or do you want the readers to purchase the book to find out?
No, I'll share the names of the characters. Hannah is the main character, and Scotty is the guy that bedeviled her, and then she married him. And Scotty is, I believe, 20 years older than Hannah. So she married an older man. That's why I said that in the book. I made sure I hope I did anyway, showed the reader that she married him because she loved him and she really wanted to make her marriage work. And she was, both of them were Christians. Oh, that's another point. One of the questions you asked, in that just because people are Christians don't mean they're perfect. And there are like the saying, a wolf in sheep's clothing.
Yes.
Her fiance, and who later became her husband, went to church. They went to church together before they were married. And then he carried the Bible, and he wasn't a minister, but at least he was a Christian. And for women to read this book, just because a man is in church doesn't necessarily mean he's genuine, I guess. Is that the word I want to use? Doesn't mean that he's genuine.
I can relate. I know exactly what you mean. Just because a man professes to be Christ-like, professes to be a Christian, professes to be the deacon preacher,
right,
thumping, praying till heaven get the news, singing like an archangel, doing all the right things, doesn't mean that he's can do the right thing as a mate, partner, or husband. I got you.
Right. Good. And that's what and that's hopefully what I was trying to demonstrate in both books also, that point.
Wonderful. Awesome. So if you could change one thing about your novels, if you could, not that you had to, but if you could, what would it be and why?
Well, first of all, I would rewrite both books if I could, wanted to take, spend the money and time to do that, because these were my first two novels. I have learned so much, since I wrote these two books. Okay. So that's the first thing I would do. I would rewrite them just because I'm not a perfectionist, but I'm a person of excellence. So whatever I write, I want it to be excellent. I want it to be the best that I can do. I know I can do better now. And again, people that read the books, they enjoy. One lady, I was at a Mother's Day convention. I guess that's what you call it, Mother's Day convention. So I had a table selling my books. She bought the book. She came back the next day. Your book was so good. I stayed up all night reading it. So it's still a good read. Oh, but yes. Because I know, that I can do better and that I have a, spirit of excellence, that I would rewrite it. The other thing is, I think if I was to rewrite it, and I could, I think I would make Hannah a little stronger. In the book, I made her very weak. But my point of doing that was I made her weak so she could gain strength at the end. But I think I maybe would make her a little bit stronger at the beginning, not such a weak, passive female.
Okay, I can get that. We can make her a little bit stronger and empower her towards
right.
Okay.
But still have her grow at the end, even more so.
Okay. Very good. So let's take your novels. Let's take them to Hollywood.
Okay.
So given that your novels have made it to the big screen, who would you like to have to play or cast as your leads, and why?
Okay, I thought about this when I was writing my books, because I can see it as a stage play and as a movie, because it reminds me of some of Tyler Perry's movies. Now, I am not saying I'm a Tyler Perry. So anybody listening, she thinks she's, no. But because, his books, his plays and movies, has to do with mostly relationships.
Yes.
And either the male or the female growing in that relationship. There's always a message in, Tyler Perry's movies. So that's what I would, and I think there's a message in both of my books. That being said, So I thought about it when I was writing the book. Well, this would make a good movie. Even some of my readers said it. This would make a good movie. So because the character, the husband, is about 20 years older than the wife, I had thought Kerry Washington would make a good Hannah, a good, younger version of the wife, and Danny Glover.
Oh, I see.
I thought he would make a good husband version, because I could see, and I could see her playing, shy Christian, passive lady, trying to respect her husband and trying to please her husband, and just trying to do whatever she can to be, a good wife. And I could see him, before he married her, charming her and buying her mink coats and cars and taking her out, just charming her and bedazzling her. And then after they get married, he's a strong actor. I could just see him then changing into this, he's tall and, big man anyway. So I could just see him being that role. Those are the characters I thought about. There are so many good actresses, out there, and actors. But those were the two that I thought about could just really, just fill this role and empower this role and bring it out.
Two very good selections. So I don't think you could go wrong with either of them. Absolutely. So Miss Barbara Harvey Carter, tell us about who Barbara Harvey Carter is today. When you first started talking about the writing of your novels and your journals and all that great stuff. So I'm sure the audience is wanting to know, are you married now? Is there love in your life now? Who are you? And what's Barb doing now?
Okay, I'm calling those things that be not as though they are. So I am married. And if the listening audience didn't get that, I am speaking by faith, saying I am married. And in truth, no. And I mean, in fact, I am not married. I'm single, living in Arlington, Texas, as you said earlier. And I am not in a relationship. I am practicing celibacy. And maybe that's TMI. I don't know.
I love transparency, and that's one of the things that I like to call it conversations with Carolyn, because conversations can be so fluid and engage in so much transparency and so much of who we really are, our authentic selves. And that was one of my goals of conversations with Carolyn. So no TMI, just tell it like it is.
All right, good.
Well, wonderful. I mean, that sounds really, really good, because writing Bedeviled and then following up with Wormwood. Tell us, what are you working on now? I know you've got to be working on something. What are you working on now, and when can we expect it?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. I am working on, I don't have a picture. But anyway, I got this card that I made. I don't know if they can see it or not. But I am working on another novel. This one is going to be longer. My first two books are about, I think, a couple of 100 pages, I think. Let's see. About 180, 90 pages. Well, this third book I'm working on, I want to make it into like a full-fledged novel. So it'll probably be about 300 pages, close to 280, 300 pages when I'm finished with it. Actually, I'm finished with it. Once I finish editing, I'm finished with it. I just need to get it edited. And my beta readers read it before Thanksgiving, and they gave me some exemplary feedback on some things to even beef it up and make it even better. So what I'm working on is a Christian romantic thriller.
All right.
Initially, I was just working on a Christian supernatural thriller. But then, I thought about it, Carolyn, in that, and I said, well, my first two books have to do with romance, romance relationships. And my goal is to empower women and girls So that's when I thought, I said, okay, why don't I just, write a romantic supernatural thriller?
Okay.
It's Christian, a romantic supernatural. So it still will be supernatural. It's gonna have the demons in there, dealing with the demons. And
It's the
angels, of course.
inevitable.
Yeah, angels, of course, too now. Angels, you got demons, you got angels. But this book I'm working on, the name I tentatively entitled it is, let me make sure, Unexpected Compatibility.
Oh.
So what this one is about, still about relationship, but what it's about is a shy, pantaphobic graphic designer must choose between a man that excites her and a man that adores her. Wouldn't it be nice to have that type choice, huh? And so she must choose between passion for the man that excites her or security with the man that adores her. And while at the same time, she's dealing with a shapeshifter, a Satanist who is determined to make her his high priestess. And he's using apparition, evil spirits, witchcraft, and all that stuff to try to get her to come to his side.
I cannot wait. So when can we get it? When can we expect it?
Prayerfully 2022. Prayerfully
Right.
2022. My goal is to obtain an agent, but if not, I'll probably self-publish this one now. It's much more easier now than it was in 2008 anyway, self-publishing. So I could probably just self-publish it. But yes, that is my work in progress.
So is it unexpected uncompatibility?
Yeah, unexpected compatibility.
Oh, compatibility.
Okay. Yeah, unexpected. Can you say that again?
Unexpected compatibility.
Does that roll off your tongue okay?
It does, because I wanted to say unexpected uncompatibility, and I'm like, I don't think that's what she said. But so unexpected compatibility, yes, it rolls out quite well because it has so much intrigueness in it. And as you were talking about it and just giving us a little expose, I was like, oh man, oh my, I can't wait. I can't wait. Because it does. There are many times, and I kind of saw myself going through the winds of change, because we do. Sometimes we have to make those hard decisions.
Right.
And sometimes as we hear what's good to us may not be good for us.
Right.
And so that it's a great thriller. I can't wait to read it. I know our audience can't wait to get their hands on it. I want to say congratulations to you, Barbara, because you got two under your belt, got this one in the wind, and I know it's just going to keep flowing and keep flowing and keep flowing. And my other question I was going to ask, was it a part of the Wormwood, Bedeviled Wormwood sequel? But you already answered that it's a total twist, but it's just as exciting.
But what I've done, let me think. I do it in the first one. This is going to be a trilogy. So this is going to be a trilogy set, the one I'm working on now. And I am going to bring some of my characters back, from Bedeviled and Wormwood. Like there's like Hannah. Okay. Yeah. Like Hannah is the main, character in Bedeviled and Wormwood. Well, I am going to make Hannah my new character's great aunt.
Oh,
so yes, I'm gonna. So Scotty, I won't bring Scotty back in.
You hear me? She's gonna be coming with wisdom.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Yes,
wow.
Because she's been through some things, right?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Kudos, hats off to you. Congratulations. It just sounds so wonderful. And I'm glad to see that these books are just rolling off like rushing water, and we know water is such a rich element. So
yes,
that's really good, really, really good. So tell us, before we we let you leave. I did say previously, you're originally from Arkansas,
Right.
but you spent the time in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So just tell us a little bit, how did you end up in Arlington, Texas, out of all places?
Okay, before I answer that question, Carolyn, I want to go back to my my work in progress, my third book,
Sure.
Unexpected Compatibility. I am basing this novel in Helena, West Helena, Arkansas, where I'm born and from,
Oh,
and
okay.
Lakeview, Arkansas, where she's gonna have this conflict with these demons in Lakeview, Arkansas, but she's going to live in Helena. Helena Crossing, for the people from Helena Crossing, shout out to Helena Crossing.
So do you all hear that? Do you all hear that? So there's more than one reason to get the book, because you may see yourself in this depiction here. Oh, wow, this is amazing. Totally outstanding. I'm glad to be on this end to get a little firsthand knowledge, so I can be ready to, as soon as they come off the press, get it in my hand. And what we will do, Barbara, is we will come back. We'll bring you back to conversation with Carolyn when the books come out, and we'll have an opportunity. You can talk again about the finished product.
Okay, and sounds good.
You know that at the time that we, unfortunately, because of Omicron and the coronavirus picking back up, we had to reschedule our holiday brunch where you would have been doing your reading from your books and autographing and all of that. I would like to say that we did postpone it till April 9th. So for the audience that's listening to your interview today, by then, Unexpected Compatibility will be out. You'll have another book to autograph, another book to purchase. So we want you to stay tuned to that. And Barbara, tell us, what is your Instagram page or your Facebook page? What platform can the audience reach you?
Okay. Oh, can you hold 1 second, please?
Sure thing.
I didn't have that with me, and I do not know it. Well, I think I know it, but I'm not sure. I know it's BHCarterauthor.com. That's for all of them. Okay. Is that all I need to know?
And it's, what is it again?
B, as in my name, H Carter, C-A-R-T-E-R. Let me just find them, Carolyn, because
we want our audience to be able to get in touch with you, and to follow you, to keep up with what you're doing, so that when this book is hot off the press, they can also be able to. I know that your book is on Amazon and Barnes and Noble.
Yes.
And so you can pick that up from you can order it off Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, and
Target. Wormwood was at Target. Online only.
Okay, online
only.
Very good.
Okay, I found it, Carolyn. So Instagram is BH_Carter, my last name, author. Twitter is both. Twitter is BH_Carter author. I didn't know if I had chance. Okay. And Facebook is BH Carter Ministries.
Okay, so it's BH Carter, all lowercase?
Yes, all lowercase. And then the BH Carter _ BH_CARTER author, AUTHOR. That's for Twitter and Instagram. And Facebook is BH Carter Ministries, MINISTRIES.
Okay, BH Carter Ministries and BH_Carter Arthur for both Twitter and Instagram, correct?
Yes, correct. Right, yes. Right.
So once again, audience, if you're listening, I know you're listening, but if you're ready to write it down, Instagram and Twitter, it's BH_Carter Arthur. That's BH_CARTERAUTHOR. BH_Carter Arthur for both Twitter and Instagram. Follow her. She posts daily. She's always posting very inspirational, motivational things so that it will definitely lift your day. And her Facebook, it's BH Carter Ministries. BHCARTERMINISTRIES. BH Carter Ministries. Follow her on Facebook, follow her on Twitter, follow her on Instagram, and make sure you keep up with what she's doing now. Make sure you get both of those copies. It's Bedeviled, 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 and Wormwood, WORMWOOD. So make sure that you are able to pick up a copy of both of those books. Follow her on Instagram, follow her on Twitter, and follow her on Facebook for more of what's going on with BHC. That's Barbara Harvey Carter. It has been my great honor. I have truly been elated to hear about what's going on with Barbara Harvey Carter, what she's doing, and what you can expect from her. So if there's anything, Barbara, if there's one last thing, one word of advice that you can give to others who are listening, somebody else that has a story, that feels impacted by the revelations that they may have received here tonight, so that they can perhaps write their own version of themselves, what would that advice be tonight?
First of all, I just want to thank you for the interview, and you asked some very good questions. I had to think about them for a while, but they were very good. Thank you. And in response to your question, number one, all of us have a story.
Yes.
Everybody has a story to tell. And if you feel in your spirit, I'm speaking to them now, if you feel in your spirit and your heart that God is telling you, or just in your own mind, you want to tell this story, do it, write it, just start writing, start writing. And don't be afraid to ask for help. Ask for mentors. There are a lot of mentors out there. There are a lot of online writing groups out there. And don't think you know it all either. I mean, some people do. You know, they write, yeah, you might be able to write, but I have learned, Carolyn, since I've been writing now since 2008, and I'm writing on this last book. Again, I want it to be excellent. Yes. That I'm finding out how much I do not know as a writer. I paid an editor for first two books and this third one. And even with this third one, I'm just thinking, okay, well, I should have learned something from my first two books, right? Well, this editor was coming up with stuff. It's like, man, it's so much to learn. Writing is not an easy craft. So if you get in here thinking it's easy, it's not an easy craft. It's easy to write, but it's not easy to be a good writer. And if you're going to write, you want to be a good writer. Okay. I want to be a great writer myself.
There you go. Yes. Also, and it sounds like, and this is one of my things too, I don't ever want to stop learning.
Right.
I don't ever want to stop learning. So I'm taking what you're saying and say, yes, I will put that into application for myself. And I trust that my audience, that the people that are listening that will be impacted, will take Barbara Harvey Carter's advice tonight and use it to your advantage. One of my favorite quotes is by Maya Angelou. And she says, if you're always trying to be normal, you will never know how amazing you can be. So let's go be amazing tonight.
Yes.
Barbara Harvey Carter, thank you. I know I'm professional, but I am very, very honored to be able to call you my aunt and to be able to have you on the platform tonight as one of the greatest professional authors of all times. And I look
Amen.
forward to this journey with you. We'll be back in April. Make sure you keep up with us. Keep up with us.
Yes.
Don't forget, Unexpected Compatibility. It's coming out soon.
Yes.
So follow Barbara Harvey Carter on Instagram, BH_Carter Arthur, Twitter, BH_Carter Arthur, and Facebook, BH Carter Ministries. We'll see you there. We'll see you then. Thank you, Barbara Harvey Carter. Keep doing what you're doing. All right, everybody, we're going to move forward with confidence. I'm still moving. Thank you, and everyone have a good night.